a lot of people, Carol Goldman's favorite cookie recipe is something she's had for years. Oh, she's made a few changes here and there, but basically, these are the same cookies she's been making since she was a young girl.
Oh, I love baking cookies, and all of us, I have two sisters, we're all good bakers, but you know how you like to taste the cookie dough, and it was a thrill for us to bake cookies, and I just happened to be the one that liked to bake the cookies.
Her cookie business started out as little more than a kitchen hobby some 20 years ago. Since then, she's gone from making a few dozen to making as many as 72 dozen at a time. All those cookies no longer fit in her home oven. So, Carol's cookies are now made at her big wholesale bakery outside Chicago.
If you like crispy cookies, you get a touch of that, and if you like chewy cookies, you get a touch of that.
Carol took her big cookies to the big time entirely by accident. She was raising a family and selling the cookies while working at a health club snack bar. She'd often urge her exercise classmates to eat one, then burn it off. Friends from the exercise studio suggested she sell her cookies to a local gourmet food store.
I didn't have like a business plan. I didn't plan to go into business. It was a hobby at first, baking cookies. I just love to bake.
She baked several dozen and took them, along with some samples, to the store just a few miles from her house. The cookies sold out almost immediately.
And I had put some extra dozen, thanks to my husband, in my trunk of my car. So when they sold out, the deli manager said, well, you better go home and start baking. Well, I said, well, gee, I have a few more in my trunk, a few more dozen. And I brought them and we sold out right away.
Carol took the deli manager's advice and started a lot of baking, sometimes for days at a time.
It took me hours to decide on the name. All of a sudden, we said, why don't we just call it Carol's Cookies? You know, it just goes together so well, and I think it helps.
Then a big break. A fan sent her cookies to People magazine, which was searching out the best cookies in the nation. This picture of Carol's face in a box of cookies, combined with rave reviews in the magazine, gave her small business quite a boost.
We had refrigerators down the basement, and we had trays of cookies all over. The cookie business took up the whole house at the time, and it was a lot of fun.
Carol's son Jeff is now in the cookie business with her, helping to design the 4,800 square foot bakery. Though he remembers the early years in Mom's kitchen with great fondness.
I made a lot of sports teams because of them, because I would bring cookies and they would say, oh, okay, Jeff, you can come play with us.
Carol's cookies are sold in about 60 stores throughout Chicago and other cities across the U.S. They ship out about 500 dozen in an average week. Still, nothing will ever replace his mom's hands-on approach.
You could tell a store-bought, machine-driven cookie versus a handmade cookie, and we do everything by hand here. So that's the uniqueness of the cookies.
The unusual thing about them, of course, is the size. Almost an entire handful of dough is used to shape each one. Baker Lynn Zaremba knows from experience these cookie balls require some muscle. She's worked at Carol's Cookies for 6 years.
After a while, it's like making a snowball. You really get used to picking them up and laying them down.
Carol's original chocolate chip recipe expanded to include 9 different varieties.
Sometimes I walk in here when it's my day off and everybody's gone, and I just like, oh my God. I look around and say, oh, how did this ever happen? See, I can cry now. Oh, gosh, yeah.
Sales come from word of mouth, spurred along by the same kind of in-store demos that helped get the business going some 20 years ago.
Their texture, the taste, everything about them. I mean, you bite into it and it just melts in your mouth. I mean, it just is so delicious. And the ingredients are so fresh. That's what I love.
You can find out how to order any of the cookies you've seen today by logging on to our website, foodnetwork.com, or you can call the vendors directly. Carol and Jeff enjoy their cookies at a small Mexican restaurant in Northbrook, Illinois, known for gigantic desserts. Starting with a Carol's cookie that's been warmed in the microwave, then ice cream, whipped cream, and chocolate sauce. To order Carol's cookies, call 847-831-4500.